Here in the business building is where most of the problem seems to be occurring. There's no roof to the building, and see, some students think that it's okay to smoke here. Fact is, everybody has email and they get junk mail every day, but they don't want to deal with it, so they just delete all of them at the same time. It resulted in the decrease of 24 tons of carbon dioxide released into the air. That's equivalent to taking 48,000 cars off the road for 1 hour. Despite the decrease in female undergraduate students in the engineering department, some professors still have high hopes that the numbers will shift and start to increase. In Northridge, I'm Sogol Tehranizadeh for Valley View News. Reports show more than 81,000 homeowners have been hit with default notices during the past 6 months.
People are in houses that they can't afford.
Director of the San Fernando Valley Economic Research Center, Daniel Blake, says low-income families are suffering the most.
In some of our lower-priced home areas, Van Nuys, Canoga Park, North Hollywood, we're having some real problems there. A lot of foreclosures showing up now.
February home sales throughout the state have declined more than 34% since last year. Broker and realtor Judy Graff says the housing crisis put a damper on her sales.
Now it's not unusual for something to be on the market for 3 months, 6 months, sometimes even longer before getting an offer.
Homeowners are not only being affected by foreclosures, but also short sales. Like this home here, many homeowners are being forced to sell their property for less than it's worth. Last month's median price for a home in the San Fernando Valley was a little over $400,000 on streets like this one, a nearly 18% decline from the year before. So even with prices falling, buyers are not diving in just yet, hoping that prices will fall further. In Northridge, Sogol Tehranizadeh, Valley View News. Trash equals waste for many people, but for Dave Kamaitis, it's gold.
These are all my recycled bottles.
He calls himself Sustainable Dave. His goal is to collect all his garbage and recyclables for 1 full year. His purpose is to conserve and learn how much a year's worth of garbage can be used to protect the environment. And he's doing it all in a tiny basement in his LA area home.
So yeah, this is just sort of the box of everything else that can't be recycled.
It's just all the electronic waste and stuff like that.
Dave says when people throw things away, it's not really away.
One of the biggest problems is that we don't connect the dots. So it's like we go to the store and we buy something, and we don't think about where that packaging is going to end up, and we don't think about what's going to happen to it when we're done with it. We don't think about all these things.
Dave has only accumulated 2.5 pounds of non-recyclable garbage in less than 60 days. But the one question everyone seems to have is, doesn't all this stink?
It doesn't really smell, it's sort of earthy.
Dave uses what he calls a worm factory, where he takes things like organic food scraps and shredded paper and turns it into fertilizer.
So it's a great way to take care of the food, but that takes care of really the biggest problem I have with my garbage.
Even Dave's wedding ring is made out of a piece of trash. His friend found a piece of titanium on the floor, welded it, and made it into his wedding ring. On his blog, 365daysoftrash.com, Dave gives a chronological update on his year-long project. In Los Angeles, Sogol Tehranizadeh for Valley View News. David and Diane Dobson are members of the Burbank Democratic Club. They have opened their home to other members and supporters to join them in watching the poll results. California Assembly member Paul Krikorian was also there to show his support for Hillary Clinton.
And I think we had an election today between two exceptional Democratic candidates.
A few blocks away, a large crowd of Clinton fans cheered Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa as he spoke for his support for the Clinton campaign.
This has always been a national campaign for us. We knew that we'd have to work hard in every state. I think our campaign organization, the fact that we worked so hard early on, helped to deliver this victory.
Clinton fans became rowdy as results came in for the big states, California and Arizona. Oh, Hillary! It's still a tight race. We still don't know for sure what's going to happen tonight, but it is definitely a victory party for her tonight. Viragosa says we may not have a clear winner until late March when the results from Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and other key states come in. In Burbank, Sogol Tehranizadeh for Valley View News. This is no ordinary construction site. These are volunteers of the Habitat for Humanity nonprofit organization. Former President Jimmy Carter brought his work project to the Los Angeles area this year to help low-income families buy these homes with no-interest mortgages.
It's going to be our dream, 3-bedroom house, you know. Yeah, it's going to be so comfortable, so healthy for my children.
Thousands of people from around the world came to the San Pedro worksite to volunteer their time and support the cause.
This has proven to be a blessing on many levels. Having a chance to help somebody out, meet a lot of really wonderful people who are dedicated.
Country music artist Garth Brooks and Milwaukee Brewers baseball player Ryan Braun also came out to support the project.
It's great, I think it's just a tremendous opportunity to come and help better somebody's life, and it's something that I've really enjoyed.
Now in its 24th year, the work project for the first time is building these homes to be green, complete with solar panels, making the homes more affordable and sustainable for the families. 100 houses will be built or renovated in the Los Angeles area by the end of the year. In San Pedro, Sogol Tehranizadeh for Valley View News. You're in the driver's seat here, getting so close that you can see the color of this climber's gear, even follow his rope to find his partner dangling hundreds of feet above ground level.
You might think it's a viewer for photographs, but really HD View is more like a camera.
It's new technology on the way and feels like you're watching a still Hollywood movie. Now you can see more in a photo.
Take you to a place in the world and hand you a virtual camera, which is HD View. It's going to let you look around just like you would as if you're standing there.
This is HD View in action. We zoom into this construction site. Check this out. You can see gloves left behind on top of this building, a garden hose, and clearly read the writing on the green box. You can pan, zoom, and even shape your picture.
If I zoom into this distant region, you probably don't even notice that anything is happening, but in fact the haze is essentially being removed on the fly. I can turn that off and show you what would happen. If we didn't do that, it would be much hazier.
The clarity of the Seattle skyline in HD View make the Space Needle jump out of the shot and even pick out a jet. Now that's a view.
Let's zoom in over here, and for example, you'll see a lot of things people keep finding. There's this little owl up on this building here. And as we zoom into this dark region, something else happens. You'll notice the exposure changes. You may not even be noticing it. As I zoom out quickly, you probably notice it changes from bright back to dark.
In Los Angeles, Sogol Tehranizadeh. The U.S. is seeking the death sentence for 6 Guantanamo detainees held in the September 11th terror attacks. The accused face numerous war crime charges. Among the 6 men is Shalik Mohammed, who described himself as mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. Lawyers say if the detainees are convicted, executions could be delayed for years. What's the difference between marijuana and heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines? What's the difference with that? Because a lot of people say you can't put those medical marijuana or marijuana in general in the same category.
It really depends on a person's social setting.
What can they do? What sources can they go to get both sides to get an unbiased stance on what's really happening?
They have their limitations, but I think the human rights reports, go look at what Amnesty International has to say, go look at what Human Rights has to say, Watch has to say.
Thank you so much. On Point plans to hear other points of view on this issue in coming weeks. I'm Sogol Tehranizadeh, and this is On Point.